to the Super Speedway.
Well, welcome to episode 294 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going tonight?
It's going, man. Things are, Southern 500. I feel like that we just did this like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know. I have that same feeling.
And also, I feel like the race was a week and a half ago at the same time. So
Yeah.
explain that to me. I don't know. Where's times? I think the holiday weekends got me all screwed up.
Well, I feel like the race lasted a week and a half.
Yeah, well, the red flag didn't help. But yeah.
It was only 7 minutes. I mean, it only added 7 minutes to the race.
Yeah. Remember when I was saying, that Watkins Glen was pretty nice, that 2-hour race? Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? If this race wasn't as long as it was, it would have sucked. Because really there were 2 races, and the first race sucked. I mean,
yeah, and then it got going.
Yeah, and then everything started going to hell, and that's what makes the Southern 500 the best race to start the playoffs with, right?
Oh man, it's got everything. It's got comers and goers, and it's got everything in between. A little bit of strategy, pit calls getting flubbed up. So yeah, it was definitely a good showing, that's for sure.
I don't know that you could pick. I could not tell you a better track to start the playoffs with.
Yeah, it's pretty solid right where it's at.
Just because there's going to be attrition there. It's a long race. You're going to see attrition because it's Darlington. You see tire wear, so tires matter. It's a driver's racetrack. And, I mean, I know part of it is just the pressure of the first race. Junior was talking about it on his podcast today that, some of these guys, they've been locked in for a while. They've just been sitting back coasting, and now they come in and all the pressure's on to perform. But add that pressure already to a track that is tough, tough to tame, as a matter of fact.
Yes, it is.
And you have just the perfect formula for the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a great playoff opener. I know we did New Hampshire for a long time and Chicago.
Yeah. Chicago might be good now, but it wasn't good back then.
Yeah, it wasn't good then. But man, Darlington's delivered 2 years in a row, and this new car on ovals continues to perform.
I was a little worried the first half. But those first 2 stages had me a little concerned that we're going to have another one of these. I mean, it's Darlington, and because of the way Darlington is, it is a track that can get away with long runs and no cautions. But it was feeling like, man, something's got to happen. But it reminded me of last year, because last year I was there. And I sat in the press box for the first 2 stages. And then, I think there was like 50 laps to go last year. I left the press box and drove down and camped out on the photographer's stand in turn 1. And it felt like so much changed from being in the press box to the end of the race, because so much happens right there at the end of that race. And it was the same way this year. Just a lot of stuff right towards the end. Guys that, Denny Hamlin was the guy,
Oh yeah, we had a few guys, but yeah, Denny Hamlin had clearly set himself apart from everybody else, and a lot of the guys in the playoffs were having issues, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit. But
yeah, we got a long list.
Yeah, we do.
I tried to put the list together of every one of them. I think I might have gotten it.
Yeah, we probably could. We could do what Jeff and Jordan did and just talk one at a time.
Yeah, but I did not listen to their podcast this week.
No,
so.
But yeah, that's what they did. I thought it was kind of a cool format. They just went through the playoff standings and they talked about each driver. So
that's cool.
That was interesting. Yeah, where they're at, how they feel about them, things like that. But we'll get into it.
Yeah, one driver that didn't have trouble though. Not enough to derail him, at least. Finally getting his Darlington win. One of the wins that he had been elusive for him so far that he wanted to get. Kyle Larson gets himself a Southern 500 victory.
Yes, sir.
And I've thought about it today, James, like how quickly we went from Kyle Larson being this guy that has so much promise but just can't finish to the guy that is checking off the last bucket list tracks. The last bucket list wins. Like, come on.
Yep.
How did that happen so quickly?
He's
22 victories now.
Yeah, and he's got a couple of majors in his pocket. He's got a 600. He's got a Southern 500. That's nothing to sneeze at, man. He's he's racked them up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And, was looking at, as I like to do, I was looking at the list. And here's the company now, Eric. Some guys that we grew up on. He is tied with Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Benny Parsons, and then he's one behind Terry Labonte and a couple behind Ricky Rudd. So all the guys from our heyday, he's about to pass them and continue his march upon the top of the charts. He's 5 behind Dale Jr. now, Hall of Famer Dale Jr.
I was going to say he's right around all those guys with jackets. So
yeah, and he's already got his jacket coming. But I mean he's in the jacket club now.
Yeah.
But giving himself a little separation from Chase Elliott too, obviously this year. So
yeah.
That's a big one.
That helps when you don't make the playoffs.
Well, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, this is a big one. I mean, I tweeted it out that Kyle Larson loves the big events.
Yeah.
He won Wilkesboro. He's won Darlington. He won the Knoxville Nationals again.
Big year.
He's having another big year. Seems
big year, and I think I was bashing him earlier in the season, saying that his run is over.
Yeah. Well, did you have him in the play? Did you have him in the championship 4?
I did. I can't remember now. Did I put him in the championship 4?
I think you did. I thought you did.
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I came back around on him because it's Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think I took him out because I put Byron in. I had him in originally, and I took him out.
Oh, that's right.
In,
yes, that's it. Yes,
so I did not have him making the final 4. So I'm already going to amend that list
Well, there's a few guys now. I am feeling a lot better about Tyler Reddick than I did.
No kidding, right?
Because I have him going to the round of 8, and that was a really strong day for him. He finished 2nd.
Yeah, and he's going to a track that his car won at last year.
Yeah, I mean the 45 and Bubba Wallace, shout out to Bubba Wallace. I know I was cussing him out at the end of stage 1,
right?
Because I was just thinking, what are you doing, man? You got the whole race ahead of you.
Yeah, that was
you got
stupid.
Logano and spun out, but he rallied and had a good day. Was battling for a top 5 there.
Bubba was not one that I would have put in the top 10 at Darlington. I don't know why.
No, I didn't expect that. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I was worried. After you and I talked last week, I thought, why did I put 2 2311 cars through to the round of 12? But I'm feeling a little bit better about it, so that's good. Good, all good things.
Well, they know they're driving Toyotas next year now, so that's good. That's weight off their shoulders.
Yep,
so
they certainly do. They certainly do.
Yeah. Kevin Harvick looked like he was going to prove me wrong, and I know you were pretty excited about that. You were ready to rub it in my face and decided to do it a little early.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally my fault, isn't it?
It is 100%. I hope Harvick gives you a call.
He should. He should give me a phone call because I messaged you and it wasn't 2 laps later.
Yeah, I was right after.
Oh, jeez, this is so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. What was so. Eric, you saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
What the heck was Tyler Reddick doing there? Because he wasn't going to make the pits. What was he doing?
I don't know why you stop in the middle of the racetrack, and Ryan Newman's probably wondering the same damn thing. But yeah, he just came to a stop in turn 4, and Newman spun to miss him, and Harvick gets hosed because he doesn't make the commitment line before the caution comes out. Of course, they pitted. If they wouldn't have pitted, it wouldn't have been as big of a penalty. But Rodney Childers doubled down afterwards and said it would have been a worse penalty had they not pitted and found out that they made the light. So he doubled down and said it was the right thing. I did want to talk about this, James, because
it's a big moment. I think it's a big moment.
It is a big moment, and as with anything where there's something that's controversial, the Sirius XM crowd wants to fix it.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
So the callers were up in arms this week about this incident, and they want to fix it. They want to get rid of this rule. This rule is bad, they say. What do you think? Is there anything that needs to be changed here? Is this just something that happens? We haven't seen. It's very rare that this affects a race. This is a freak
incident. Yeah, this is a freak incident. I don't know if I'd change the rule. I mean, it's there for a safety.
Junior wants to make it a ball or strike call to where there's some human intervention that humans can decide that, well, he was coming, so he's good. No. You can't do that.
No. You and I have argued, I think, together.
Right.
You can't have balls and strikes. It's got to be black and white.
Here's the reason this rule exists. What year was it in the All-Star race when Jeff Burton pitted on the last lap of the stage? That's why. Because if we didn't have this rule and pit road was open, As soon as the caution came out, every driver that possibly could would dive onto pit road, and it would be such a mess. First of all, it would be unsafe on pit road, and it would just be a complete cluster. And James, I don't know if you watched the IndyCar race on Sunday, but we saw almost the reverse of this on Sunday in the IndyCar race because there was a caution or car spun off the track and stalled in the middle of a pit cycle. There was one car that hadn't pitted yet, and IndyCar held the caution until that car pitted, then threw the caution after the pit stop was done, but before the car was out on the track, erasing the need for the outlap and giving that driver an advantage afterwards because he got to start further up. I don't remember what driver it was, but it was the exact almost reverse of this. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
This is a safety thing, and it's also to keep these guys from beating themselves. I have no problem with it. Yes, it sucks for Kevin Harvick, but I didn't hear Kevin Harvick or Rodney Childers bitching about it. I mean, it's just how it works sometimes. Sometimes
it's kind of the season that they've had where they've, some of these things that are just happening to them are just kind of, well, what are you going to do?
Right.
If the leader stopped on the track for God knows what reason.
Well, he stopped on the track because Harvick pitted.
It was so weird, but he wasn't going to make the pit. He wasn't going to make pit road.
His crew called him pit road, and he panicked. It really is what happened.
He did panic. He's lucky he didn't. Honestly, he's lucky he got the finish he did.
Yeah, he is.
After that, so
he's lucky that he had a rear end left on the car. Not only that, but he, destroyed his main competition in this race by doing that. Because Harvick was on the way, man.
Yeah.
He was coming.
It was exciting to see Kevin Harvick making something happen there and it all just to go get taken away like that really is kind of a bummer. But a good sign for that team. Maybe they can go to Kansas and have a strong day and then won't have to worry about it. So,
yeah. I hope so. I'm not cheering for Kevin Harvick to be out. I know this type of stuff keeps happening to them. It's not weird. Because they've run bad. They've run good.
What they've done with that team this year is pretty remarkable considering
for Harvick, this is a championship without whether he wins it or not, considering what they've done with an underperforming team.
Yeah, I mean it's been a fantastic season for them. So I don't hold them in any higher or any lower regard if they do get eliminated. They've done a lot with a little bit. So been a pretty good season, but they're not done yet. And I know the reason I was teasing you is because you retired him last week.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, Kevin Harvick's going to come out here and win this thing right out in the front, right in the back. But, oh man,
it is interesting to see who steps up though. I mean, we had a lot of guys step up and have strong runs. And yes, people struggled. The one I thought was the most interesting. So let's talk about some of these drivers that struggled. I thought Christopher Bell was the most interesting because here's a guy who, he comes in, gets the pole, gets the best pit crew of the entire series. I mean, they're the pit crew champions from the All-Star race.
Yep.
And they come out and botch the first pit stop and immediately start the struggling for this car. And it was just a cluster all day.
Yeah. Well, you remember last week when we were talking about our playoff grid and I said, I got to the round of the final four and I had Bell written in and there was something that wasn't sitting right with me and I crossed him off and put Brad in there. And this is the reason why I don't understand, the pit crew thing that's going to happen. But man, that pit crew having a mistake, maybe the pressure's too much. I don't know. And then hitting the wall when he really didn't even need to for, just pressing, and that just ruined their day. And honestly, the lights going out in that red flag, it was a long yellow before the red flag. That helped that team quite a bit to salvage a day where they probably shouldn't have gotten all the points that they did because they were, struggling so bad. So, it's, I don't know, man. It's just the playoffs. It's, I don't even know what else to say. Like they were in a good position all day, and his teammate, he had a couple of teammates that had weird days too. The whole Gibbs organization, really.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So.
Yeah. Speaking of Gibbs teammates, Denny Hamlin, we mentioned, pretty much running away with this thing, 177 laps led on the day, and gets a loose wheel. And then
phantom loose wheel.
Well, yeah. Well, he says it's a loose. I gotta believe Denny. There's something was wrong. I mean,
something must have been wrong.
He's not just pitting to pit. So
right.
I will say that from what I can tell, with an aluminum wheel, you're not going to see the damage that you would see on a steel wheel. Right. So, usually the tire just comes off. So,
yep.
The fact that didn't happen, I guess, is a benefit to him.
Yes.
But he says the wheel was loose. Either way, they changed the tires and he didn't have the issue anymore. But that cost Hamlin the race, and then of course he gets involved in an accident afterwards as well.
Yep.
But yeah, so
1-2 stages. I mean, it was his show, and nobody could hang with him.
Yeah.
I would expect he's going to come to Kansas and be very strong as well.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing about stage points and everything else. He's fine.
Yeah.
Like a 25th place finish for him after that. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah, he got 32 points. I mean, Larson got 57, but only Larson and Reddick really were that much higher on the points than he was.
Well, he finished the race with hold on. He was top 10 in points overall.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, think of it that way. He got out of there with a top 10 if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
So.
You're almost better off to win the first 2 stages and then botch the end than do it the other direction.
Oh yeah, that's and that's what you were saying. You kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, Eric. Tale of 2 races.
Yeah.
It was a lot really calm early on, and then it got super chaotic right after that second stage, and everything kind of went haywire.
Yep. Joey Logano also had issues with the wall. Still, I mean, managed to recover for a 12th place finish
somehow. Yeah.
That is a testament to Joey Logano and what that crew can do.
They've got to be a little bit worried.
Yeah.
Would be my takeaway.
I mean, he still got 25 points out of the day, but he's not in the position that Denny was starting the playoffs. So
yeah, he's above the cut line, just barely.
Yeah.
So got a few points to give there.
You mentioned Bubba Wallace spinning early. That was the end of stage 1, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, right at the end of stage 1.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get one race point.
Yeah, him and Logano actually, which may have actually helped Logano's issues or made Logano's issues a little worse.
Yeah, there was some damage to be had, but Bubba lucky he didn't get collected up in anything worse. Salvage that one. So.
Then we had Ricky Stenhouse Jr. speeds on pit road early.
Never really a factor.
No, he wasn't. Stenhouse is. I mean, no offense to Stenhouse, but Stenhouse is doing exactly what I expected him to do.
Happy to be here. Yep.
Yeah. Making the playoffs for that team is the win.
Yep.
If they can get to the next round, it's a miracle. So, and McDowell's the same way. McDowell was involved in the accident with Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, all involved in that accident.
Yep.
So bad day for McDowell, and then Martin Truex Jr. He had problems, but I didn't see it.
All day, just all day.
They just stunk, right?
Yep, just stunk all day, and then got a bad. They had to come back down pit road, which put him 2 laps down. That was the end of it.
Once you're trapped 2 laps down, especially with long runs.
Well, and he didn't have the speed. He just wasn't. He was honestly not even a thought all day. So hard to rally when you don't have anything to really going for you at all anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Let's talk. First of all, did I miss any playoff drivers? Are those all the ones that had issues?
Those are the ones that had issues. I think maybe we could say Ross Chastain had issues, but battled through them and got a 5th place finish. I was actually really impressed with that team because they were fighting to stay on the lead lap, and Daniel Suarez actually maybe saved their race coming to the end of I believe it was stage 1. And Suarez held off Hamlin and kept Chastain as the first car 1 lap down.
That's a good point.
And that was a huge day for the 1 car because they were kind of out to lunch and they battled back, and that was a really impressive run from Ross. Probably his best. I think this is his best race since he won Nashville.
Yeah.
So pulled it together. He's above the cut line now. So I think he's got like a 13-point cushion over the cut line. So. You got to take that, even if it's not the best day. Putting something together, that's pretty solid. I was impressed by that one.
And then your favorite, Chris Buescher, 3rd place finish. James, I'm telling you, man.
I feel like you are trying to pigeonhole me as a Chris Buescher hater.
You are, man. You're not a hater. When are you going to believe in this guy? Are you still picking Brad?
Yeah, I still
Brad's still your pick over him, huh?
Yeah, I still got Brad.
For God's sakes,
okay.
Brad was 6th.
For God's sakes.
Buescher almost won this race.
I had a thought. I'm gonna try this one on for you.
God.
So you know how I'm correct about everything
No.
80 or 90% of the time?
No.
And then usually like a year or so later you come on and you're like, Natalie Decker.
Well, you're right once in a while.
So-
James, a broken clock is right twice a day. So
That's right. So, I'm like, Brad Keselowski in this Roush thing, this is going to be really good. Well, but here's where you've done really, really well. You've taken the evolution of, Chris Busch is a contender. James is wrong. Chris Busch is a contender.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang it. He somehow you got me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can't figure it out. Even though I said I think Chris Busch was probably going to finish 5th in the points. You got me.
He's going to be Final Four, man.
You SOB. I don't know how you pulled this one off. So, the evolution of our marriage on this podcast has gotten to the point where you've evolved past me. I have to change my game a little bit more. So I'm proud of you, man.
Are you picking him for Kansas? See your
I
pick?
might have to, dude. That car's really fast.
It is.
They are. I saw a stat. Where I saved it too. I saw a stat where it's Buescher and Brad, and they have the most lead lap finishes of the entire season.
That's incredible.
It's Buescher and I think Buescher's got 25, and I think Brad's got 24, and they lead the entire series in lead lap finishes. I mean, they're building more momentum every week. Yeah,
I still don't think I'm playing the game, but I don't think Chris Buescher's a championship contender necessarily. I don't think he's a championship threat. He's a contender, but he's not a threat. He's still got to go through. I mean, yeah, he finished third. But he's still got to go through Kyle Larson. He's still got to go through. He's got to beat William Byron. He's got to beat Martin Truex Jr. Truex and Larson are both champions already.
Well,
like they know how to do this.
The thing is that team can get to Phoenix now.
Yeah, no, they can.
And that puts you. I mean, that's all you can ask for. If you're any of these teams, if you're Ryan Blaney,
do you
and you're
think
like,
when
hey
it's
man,
all on the line that he's going to outduel Hendrick Motorsports and Kyle Larson if they're both in the Final Four? I don't see it.
I just
happening.
don't. I can't imagine that would happen.
He would have to outright outrun them. He's not going to outsmart them.
The thing with the Roush Keselowski cars is they are just fast, man.
Anything can happen, man.
It reminds me, this is a better version of what Trackhouse was last year.
Yeah.
Those guys were just a little more inconsistent, but they had a lot of speed.
Well, the difference between this and Trackhouse is that Trackhouse just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yes.
And we've seen this progression with RFK.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
This has been
over
building
2 years now.
So to me, this feels more sustained than what Trackhouse did because this isn't a fluke.
Right. And what I like about what Roush Fenway Keselowski has is the K in RFK.
Yeah.
They've got a guy who's done it, who's been there a bunch of times, who knows the way. Mm-hmm. And who's been with Roger Penske for years, just knows how to be in a part of a championship organization. He's brought that DNA over. Trackhouse has to build that from the ground up. So I think that's a little bit of the difference there. But
what it was? It's that nap that Keselowski got during media day.
It's so funny. I meant to bring that up on the podcast last week and I didn't. But yeah, Bubba taking pictures of Sleepy Brad.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, man, these RFK cars aren't going away. They're going to be tough in Kansas too. They're going to be around tough. They're going to be tough in Kansas. Buescher could win Kansas.
Yeah.
He's
winning
everything else.
Again, I went down the list last week. There's not a whole lot of tracks that I look at that I think he can't win at.
Yeah, I mean, he can win Kansas. He can win Bristol. So he's got 2 opportunities coming up. He can win Dega or Texas, and yeah. I mean, it's the map. The road map is there.
Yeah.
They just got to go take it now. So.
Yep.
I think the only other playoff driver we probably didn't touch on. Well, we didn't touch on Blaney, but Blaney was just kind of out there.
They managed to get a top 10 finish out of the day too. Yes. Which I think is really impressive because they were out to lunch early.
He had a weird race. He just kind of hovered around 15th.
Yeah.
And then kind of found his way around. But he had good, decent, stage 2 finish or stage 1 and stage 2 finish. So he was around. It just was a very quiet day. But that's a good day for Ryan Blaney. A lot of people, us included, a lot of people had him out.
Yeah.
In the round. Well, actually, do I have him going through? No, I don't. A lot of people have him out in the first round. So, when everybody else is having problems and you top 10 your way through, that's a pretty good day.
Yeah, I don't mind Blaney proving me wrong on that one. I mean, let's put it this way: a lot of people have him out except for Dale Jr., who hasn't won in the championship. So
that's so funny.
We didn't talk about playoff driver Chase Elliott. According to NASCAR's results sheet, he's a playoff driver.
It's too much, man. It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
Hope he just gets knocked out and let's get this over. We also didn't talk about William Byron, who was threatening. I mean, the end of that race was, Larson kind of by himself, but we had a heck of a battle for second place.
Yeah.
And Byron and Buescher and Reddick were all just kind of under a blanket there. But that's a good day for William Byron.
Yeah.
Did not have a good starting position. You would think, kind of based on past history, that 24, when they start, in 23rd, they don't usually come all the way up to 4th. I mean, that's a nice run for that team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want to see. If you don't get the win, have a good day, and that was a really good day.
Yeah, especially like we said, when so many playoff drivers had trouble.
Yeah, and he's got the cushion. I mean, he's really got the cushion now to. And Eric, I was going to make this point too, and I wonder what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah.
So you're Kyle Larson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you win early. Now you've got 2 races to just kind of fool around a little bit. Does that make him more dangerous moving forward into the next couple of rounds?
James, I don't think you can make Kyle Larson more dangerous.
Sure.
I really don't think you can, because I think Larson's going out there to win every week. And not that all these guys aren't, but Larson has that killer instinct, especially when it matters.
When he's fast, right?
That's why I was concerned about him in these playoffs, because he might not have had the season that you expect out of him this year, but when it matters, he's got the talent.
Finds a way.
So no, I think he's the absolute biggest threat every week that he can be. There's never a time. Kyle Larson is our current day Jimmy Johnson to me. He is the guy that it doesn't matter what happens in the race, you're probably gonna have to worry about him at the end.
Yeah,
even if he spins, man, he's probably gonna come back and make a run for it.
Well, and that's the thing I think I'm curious about too, is what do these teams value more? Do they value trying to hit on finding more speed, or do you say, you know what, let's go try to steal a couple of playoff points? Do we just try to, is it more valuable to do what we do, keep grinding away and know what we know, and try to just outrun everybody and keep them from getting the playoff points, or do you sacrifice a little bit for long-term gain?
Well, I mean, honestly, if you knew the answer, then I think you'd be a team owner, because
probably right. I know
none of those guys know right now.
Yeah,
I mean, none of it.
I'd love to ask.
They'd all love to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, but nobody knows what they're going to do, and nobody's going to ever answer that question.
No.
Joey Logano 2 times has been the beneficiary of winning, early in the 3rd round, and then going and kicking people's butts in the championship race.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, early on in the playoffs, how does that work too? So just something I was kind of thinking about as I have random NASCAR thoughts for whatever reason.
I mean, let's put it this way. Do you want to give Kyle Larson momentum? Never.
No, you don't. No.
Never. Do not give that guy momentum. Do not give him
a couple
confidence.
of guys in the garage you don't want to get hot, and he's probably the one, the number one. Don't let that guy get hot.
Yeah.
In the garage. I mean, he's the most dangerous.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Alex Bowman and Daniel Suarez had a little disagreement of real estate on the racetrack. Kind of curious of your take on this one, James. Bowman with the big block on the front stretch. Depending on who you ask, he either blocked once, twice, or 3 times. I think was it Gluck that said he blocked 3 times?
I said 2. I think Gluck said 3.
Dale Jr. says 1. Daniel Suarez says 1. 2.
I know Dale's ticking me off tonight because he's sticking up for his boys, and it's
he defended that. He said 75% of the reason. You know what? I agree with Dale on this one. 75% of that accident was Alex Bowman's fault.
Then that's fair. Yeah, that's honestly that's fair.
Let me put it this way: 100% of Alex Bowman getting wrecked was his fault. But Daniel Suarez getting wrecked is Daniel's fault, because he could have wrecked Bowman without wrecking himself. And I agree with Dale on that, because Alex or Suarez, I'd love to see the SMT data on that, because I don't think he lifted going into turn 1.
I don't think he would. Yeah, and he was mad.
Yeah, he was.
And that's fine. You can get mad at guys out there. We've seen that for years.
Well, and he just watched the lap before Alex Bowman make that same block on Ross Chastain on that same straightaway too.
What was my comment to you? He was Bowman was in a Trackhouse sandwich, and he was getting wrecked no matter what he did.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, you know how I always feel about the two blockers. You block once all you want, but if you make a second move, you get what's coming to you. James,
I think if you block 3 lanes at Darlington, you're getting what's coming to you regardless.
Yeah, and
I don't think it matters that it was 2 blocks. And I don't know. So I don't know if the second one was a block. I think he kind of got hooked as he was going. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It's still...
in-car camera, to me, it felt very clear that he blocked twice. NASCAR does that on social. They do the split screen with the one.
I did not watch that, so I can't.
So I watched that, and I watched it about 5 or 6 times, and every time I was like, Bowman comes up every time on him, and you're right. Suarez could have gave him some slack, but what the heck does Suarez care, especially if he's ticked off?
Right. That whole thing was just 2 guys that.
It's just being dumb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they both missed the playoffs. They're irritated.
Just frustrated.
Yeah. So neither of them want to cut each other a break, and they both piled into the turn.
I didn't care for. Now I agree with Jeff Gluck on this. Travis Mack saying that maybe Bowman should be tested for a concussion. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
that was a little bit, especially with a guy who has a history of concussions. Probably not the best thing to say.
He's probably a little confused as to why he's being accused of doing something he hasn't done, though.
So he says, right?
Yeah.
Bowman. What's going on with Bowman? He's been quiet for so long. He's just fired up.
I don't know. He must. The old hack must have felt like he needed some limelight.
He's having a rough year, so
it sounds like him and Travis Mack are making T-shirts now, so we're good.
Oh, okay. Well, they'll be fine.
All is good in the world.
The hack and the Mac.
I guess something.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, honestly, I think the biggest loser in that whole situation was Harrison Burton, who was completely minding his own business and gets caught up in this wreck.
Well, Harrison's going to be okay from what Twitter says tonight. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where's is he re-signing?
I think he's going to get another year. Gotcha. So
that doesn't surprise me.
Well, it'll be okay.
The chips are starting to fall, and there's only a couple question marks. And I think this is one of those rare circumstances where there might be more good seats available than drivers left.
Really like that.
Yeah. So some people might get shots that maybe you wouldn't expect.
Well, speaking of to steal your transition.
Yeah. Well,
speaking of guys who got a shot.
Yeah.
Our guy. Yeah. Carson Hocevar.
17th place finish in a car that has been underperforming all season.
Just junk.
Yeah.
All season. And that was a great
Finished on the lead lap at Darlington. That's pretty damn good for your first official race with your name on the car.
Yeah, he's not going to be in the Xfinity series. No. I don't think.
I am pretty confident he's a full-time Cup driver next year.
I don't know if it's the 42 or if it's with Colleague, but he's definitely going to be driving on Sundays for the majority of his future here.
Yeah,
very soon.
Do you think? Man, I would think Chevy's going to try and keep a hold of him.
I think he's probably going to Colleague.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be in that 42 car.
I think he's getting all the seat time he can, and Chevy's given Legacy a little, pat in the back here for.
Yeah, that 42 car is earmarked for somebody else whose father drove a 42 car at one time.
Oh, interesting.
So we'll see. Yeah. So, good day for Carson Hocevar. Like you said, I think we'll see him in the Cup Series. Yep. He's definitely gonna be in the Cup Series sooner than later, though. Is my opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I don't want to get out of here without saying Eric bleeping Jones, by the way.
Yeah.
Pit stuff kind of shuffled him out of the...
Still 10th place finish?
I know, but he was there for a while.
Yeah.
I messaged you, and I was like, I can't believe he's doing it again.
Yeah.
Death, taxes, and Eric Jones in the Southern 500.
I'll tell you, man. Goodness. Does that not tell you that he's a great driver?
Oh, that car is so bad. So,
yeah. I mean, what else do you need to know? Somebody who's that good at Darlington that he's a good driver.
Maybe next year.
I hope so, man. I hope that they can turn their stuff around with Toyota over there.
Maybe, maybe Chris Buescher's the template here. Stick with the guy long enough and give him good equipment. Maybe, maybe he'll have his moment, because I don't think Eric Jones. We're not done with Eric Jones for a while here. So
well, you got to assume that next year the resources to that team are going to increase significantly.
I sure
because
hope so.
One, they didn't make a lateral move. There's no way, and it's certainly going to go up from what they're getting right now, because you can guarantee they're not getting much at the moment. So I mean, they are getting every Chevy driver from the Xfinity series to come drive their car. But yeah, so good on Hocevar. He gets a couple more weeks in that car too, at least. To prove himself.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes out the year.
Yeah, me neither.
Unless the next driver who's going to be in that car gets shuffled in.
But I don't think so, because you're talking a Toyota guy probably, unless it's somebody who's going to switch manufacturers. And that car, they might not have the support from Chevy, but it's still a Chevy car and there's still a Chevy contract. And they're not going to put a Toyota guy in that car.
Yeah, that's true.
They will not allow a Toyota driver to get in that car. And Toyota's not going to let one of their drivers go and drive a Chevy either. So
no.
That car, for all intents and purposes, is a Chevrolet the rest of the season.
Remember when Chris Buescher was a Roush under Roush reign, and then they were just like, go ahead, JTG Darty, take him in there, put him in your Chevy for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, that's a rarity.
Brought him back over.
That's I mean, long-term play though. Look what it did for him.
It's worked out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Put a fast piece under some of these guys, they can really show you something.
Couldn't keep them in the stable at the time, but kept the leash on at least.
And even that, let him drive a Chevy for a couple of years. That used to be more common back in the day.
Yeah.
We had guys get shuffled around. I mean, Davey Allison drove a Chevy in the Busch series. That was a 28 car.
Right.
And every time I think about that, I think about you and I talking about it for whatever, God knows whatever reason. However, whatever we got on that tangent. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting thing just to look at. I mean, we had top 9 drivers in this race. Let's see, 11 of the top 12, all playoff, and I air quote playoff drivers because Chase Elliott isn't a playoff driver, but playoff team. Eric Jones is the only one in the top 10 that's not in the playoffs in some capacity.
Yep.
As usual, we had playoff drivers that struggle, but the cream still rises to the top. It's what you expect this time of year. And, I mean, Darlington delivered once again.
Always does, man.
In Tale of Two Races, it was 2 really interesting races. And, I'm all for shortening races, but this is definitely one that doesn't need to be shortened.
Nope, gotta leave it alone. Yep.
I'm all for a 300 miler in the spring at Darlington, but we gotta have the Southern 500.
Yep.
And I mean, what a great job to bring this race back to Labor Day weekend, put it under the lights. The place is sold out again. Yep. Infield and grandstand sold out. Just great job by NASCAR and everybody involved to put this race back where it should be. And I mean, this track was on the chopping block, James.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Right before COVID, we weren't sure of the future of this place. We ran it 3 times during COVID, and now it's got 2 dates and going strong, man.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep. Throwback really kind of saved it.
Yeah. It did.
At one point, it was pretty rough, and now it's got kind of 2 identifiers. It's got a throwback and the Southern 500, and
I still prefer
it's awesome.
I'd still prefer this throwback with the Southern 500, but
I know.
Got to try and make that spring race special.
Yep. Yes,
let's see. Larson's first victory in the Cup Series at Darlington Raceway. 8th top 10 finish in 12 races for him here. 22nd victory, as we mentioned, 322 Cup Series starts. 3rd victory and 13th top 10 finish in 2023. Ty Gibbs, your highest finishing rookie. He had his own issues during the race as well, but was able to rally to 21st. And William Byron's your points leader, 1 point over Kyle Larson, but Kyle Larson's got the win to lock him into the next round.
All right. Hendrick's feeling good.
Yeah, can't complain for sure. NASCAR Xfinity Series was in action the day before. The Wawa 250. What, right? Is that what it was? No.
Yeah, I think so.
No,
yeah.
The Wawa was the last race. Damn it, James.
Was it?
I didn't change it in the notes.
I don't know.
It was a Sport Clips haircut VFW Help a Hero 200.
That's why Hamlin was. Yeah, that's why Hamlin was in it.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin gets a win. 18th victory in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Just kind of ruined the end of the race here, because it was going to be it was still a good battle at the end. But we didn't get our last lap pass or side by side crash at the line like we had the last two races here. But still a great finish between Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, and Denny Hamlin, battling it out at the end. John Hunter leads 99 laps, finishes third. But,
Sam Mayer caused a ruckus again.
Yeah. So Sam says his brakes went out, and that's what happened there.
Wow.
So I guess I could see that. Parker handled himself very professionally.
He knows how to do in the media now.
Yeah, could have been worse. Yeah.
Yeah, his brakes went out and he rallied to finish 11th.
Right?
With no brakes.
He said they were soft. He said they were spongy.
Yeah, pretty stout with no brakes.
Unless he was trying to clean Parker out, something went wrong there because he screwed up.
I don't think he tried to clean Parker out. But Parker being on the playoff bubble is pretty interesting. That's something, where you try to find storylines with the Xfinity series coming up here the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that one.
Yeah.
I kind of hope he makes it.
Definitely that didn't help him.
Yeah, nope, that doesn't help.
24th place finish. He only got 13 points on the day.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit bummed about that, but he's still in the hunt. Geez, oh, Pete's Riley Herbst. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
he's not gonna. You're not gonna make the playoffs at this point. I don't know.
He was so close to like battling for wins, and
I know.
Just kind of went backwards.
I know.
He finished sixth.
Yeah,
34 points. It's pretty good.
It's meh. Yeah.
Top 10 first two stages as well. Not terrible. Not good enough, but not terrible.
Go win races.
Austin Hill continues to be a threat everywhere. Second place finish.
Yeah, he's
I was a little disappointed that Sheldon Creed didn't run better here because I believe they were struggling during the day, and actually still rallied back for an 8th place finish. But Sheldon's been good here. Sheldon almost won this race last year. So
yeah, Austin Hill's taken whatever this role is, and he's going all the way to the Final Four for Xfinity Series.
Oh yeah, I think he's going all the way to the stage.
He's probably unless something goes wrong. He seems to have broken out from everybody else now.
Yeah,
pretty clear.
Going to do it another year too. So
yeah, and it's going to be in his 30s when he does it. So that's interesting. But yeah, career highs all across the board for that guy. He's pretty special season.
Yep, going to do it next year without John Hunter probably.
Probably.
Still has Sheldon Creed to battle. Still got the teammate to battle.
Yeah. Yep.
Chandler Smith maybe probably. Still hanging around there. Yep. Maybe. Unless he moves up to Cup 2.
Yeah, it could be.
So, anyway. Kyle Larson has carburetor issues, finishes third in both first two stages, and they tried to fix it and just kind of never quite got it fixed. Cost himself a lap, and that was the end of it. So, 38th place finish, dead last for Kyle Larson.
That's, bummer. But he was okay.
Yeah.
I think he did just fine for himself. I did like also Denny Hamlin tweeting out people giving him the finger after he won. He's become.
I enjoyed him embracing the booze.
Yeah, he's definitely become one of the great trolls.
Yeah, good on it, man. Yeah. I know he rubs you the wrong way, but I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it.
Because he does the thing where he's just he's playing a character. This is the only race he runs every year. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's like since 2017, he runs one Xfinity Series race a year, and he either wins it or it ends up in a bleep show where he gets disqualified.
Yeah.
But he ran last time he ran an Xfinity race was 2021. But he's nothing but Darlington every time out. So it's pretty interesting.
Speaking of Denny Hamlin trolling people, how about his announcement?
Yeah, create the circus.
Yeah,
for podcast down. Maybe we should take advice from him.
Yeah,
and create a circus for podcast downloads. We are a circus.
We are,
but
it's hard to create something that already exists.
We need a more public circus, maybe.
Yeah.
So
I guess we need to win some races, and
the thing with Hamlin is like, where else was he gonna go? There was no other.
Well, the sounds of things, everybody was pretty confident this weekend at the track that 2311 was going forward. So,
well, that didn't happen. And guess what? Stuart Haas isn't switching either. So
yeah.
There you go. Toyota. So Toyota now bumps up with Legacy. Now they've got basically 8 cars, 3 big teams.
Yep.
I think that's right where they want to be. It's probably going to be their sweet spot here for a while.
Yeah, I would think so. It's probably
I can't see them adding anymore.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more to add there. I think that's pretty comfortable for them.
Yep.
6 seemed too low. I mean, and if they're going to add, they're not going to add a team. They're going to add cars to current teams.
Yeah.
You know, they've got 2 teams that can grow at this point. One of which we know wants to grow.
Yeah, 23 of them wants to grow.
And the other one that I'm sure with the right funding would be willing to grow. So
well, think about the names they got now. I mean, Jimmy Johnson's in that group, and Michael Jordan, and it's like Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs. That's a who's who of quite a bit of people. So
that Jumpman car looked pretty good this week, don't you think?
Oh my God, man! Yeah, I got people who don't watch NASCAR telling me how good that car looked.
It's a good looking car.
Yeah, Carolina blue is tough to beat, especially when you got the Jordan logo slapped on the side.
It looked a little better in victory lane, but
well, he dang near put it there.
Just about.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great looking race car.
So yeah, I mean, we without the Kyle Busch situation last year, we would have never questioned this Hamlin situation, but because of that, we were a little skeptical, but I think we both were pretty confident still that he was sticking around, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
And this is a multi-year agreement, so pretty much we're expecting now at this point Hamlin's going to finish his career with JGR. Multi-year, I would assume, is more than 2.
Yeah.
So if it's 3, that's probably taking you to the end.
Well, it puts him at his age 45 season. So, yeah, you know, maybe there's the play where he goes and drives his own cars for a year or 2.
Yeah.
Maybe even part-time, you know, if he doesn't want to fully retire, he could do that. So he's going to have the great thing that Denny Hamlin's built. And this is the thing with Hamlin, Keselowski, and Kyle Busch that I think is interesting. Hamlin and Keselowski have kind of built their own path for whatever comes next through the Cup Series.
Right.
And Kyle missed the boat on that, and I don't know if he's got time to get KBM where he wants to be.
I don't think he wants to.
I don't think he wants to.
He was asked about that at Michigan, and he essentially said that, you know, they tried to move up to the Xfinity Series before, and they sucked.
Yeah, they did.
You know, and they did. I mean, we had the winningest driver in the Xfinity Series fail to win a race.
Yep.
You know, so and that was back when they were still making lots of starts.
Yep.
So
yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyle has resigned himself to be a Truck Series owner. I think he's got a good place there. I hope that Chevy continues to allow him to build that up to where it can be a powerhouse in that series as it was with Toyota. And I think, you know, that's his plan, is to have that for Brexton and then go from there. But I don't really see Kyle with a lot of aspirations to move up beyond the Truck Series anymore.
Yeah, it's just interesting. And, you know, I know he's got Brex doing his thing, and maybe that's where he wants to focus. So
yeah. Brex got himself a win at Florence this week.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting to see how these guys are navigating their careers a little bit.
Yeah.
I think Kyle kind of got short shafted.
Yeah.
a little bit. He's doing okay.
I wanted to revisit something you said. You mentioned Hamlin running for his own team for a year or 2 before he calls it quits.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you. What benefit does Hamlin get from that?
I think it's just he gets to do what he wants to do, honestly.
Is he not doing what he wants to do where he's at, though? I mean, he's got his own team.
Yeah.
He's getting a paycheck, pretty good paycheck, I assume, from Joe Gibbs. Why pay himself?
Well, true. That's true. I mean, it's a good grift he's got going on.
You would imagine he'd be making more from 2311 than his current drivers at 2311, right? So
yeah, oh yeah.
Why the hell would he do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of more of a what does he want the rest of his career to look like? And when he does retire from driving, you know, he'll have a place where if he has that itch, you know, he wants to scratch.
Do you think Dale Earnhardt would have raced for DEI if he'd have survived?
Maybe.
Junior says no.
Yeah, I mean, Dale Jr. knows better than all of us.
Yeah, I mean, not like he and his dad were real close, but.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they probably talked about what the future looked like quite.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they didn't, but.
Yeah, they might. Yeah.
Knowing Senior, probably not, but.
Well, it's like Jimmy. You know, he went and gallivanted around and came back around, and he.
Yeah, but that was not part of Jimmy's plan. I think this presented an opportunity for Jimmy. He started realizing that, hey, I need to do something, and the opportunity was there. I don't think if Jimmy had the plan to become a team owner, I think that it would have been in the works well before he retired. So
right.
But I don't know. It's interesting. But I personally think we see Hamlin retire in an 11 car now. So
I'm sure. Like when he won't compete for championships for 2311.
No.
You know, he's going to try to
maybe a part-time schedule in that car. I could see.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like he won't. You know, when his full-time driving days are done, it'll be behind the wheel of the 11.
I don't know though. I kind of see Denny as the type like Harvick. He's gonna be done, and he's gonna be done.
Well, you know what's funny is Boyer. You know, I heard Boyer say a couple weeks ago that he's itching again.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because I thought he was pretty content, and then he got behind the wheel of those SRX cars, and he came out and said, "Yeah, he's itching to compete." And I think after these guys step away for a little while, even Jimmy, I never thought Jimmy would get back behind the wheel of a Cup car.
Well, it's really easy to say, like, I don't know why these guys don't just go run a truck or an Xfinity car, but you have to remember that it still costs money to run those things.
Oh, yeah.
And Joey made a big point of it last year or this year of how much it cost him to bring sponsorship to run the truck at Bristol on the dirt.
Yep.
Like it was a big ask. He had even a champion, the defending Cup champion, had to bring money with him to be able to run that car. So
yep. Thank you, Planet Fitness. I'm a supportive member for you, Joey. So you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
So interesting, very interesting. It's like I said, you think those guys just have every opportunity available to them, but still costs money to put that car on the racetrack. So
unless you're Kyle Larson, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of does whatever he wants.
Right. Obviously the Toyota news or the Denny Hamlin news implies, or I guess it's been announced that 2311 is going to remain with Toyota as well. Yep. So that's all a done deal. All the big excitement of the silly season kind of wraps up with that, but there's still some pretty big dominoes to fall. I mean, decent mid-sized dominoes at least to fall to see what happens going forward. So, but maybe we'll start to see that now. I mean, certainly. This doesn't surprise me. We see this announcement when we did, because I can't imagine going into the playoffs trying to win that championship and still be dealing with a contract, debate or whatever. They needed to get this wrapped up before the playoffs, and technically did, as I would assume. I would assume they didn't sign the papers after the race on Sunday.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. That miffed me was he was playing a game.
Yeah, well, maybe he was playing the game.
Fine.
Maybe he was ready to announce it in victory lane when the race was over and didn't quite get to do that. So
yeah, but he got to do it on his podcast. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't think there's any other news. We're early enough in the week. Not much is broken at this point. So
yeah, I was checking the Twitters, and I mean, we already mentioned any other news earlier, so everything else is hunky dory.
I just checked the unofficial show note source of the Super Speedway podcast, jski.com, and nothing on there. So looks like we're good to go.
Sure. Yes, sir.
So we head to Kansas Speedway this weekend for some more all three series in action this weekend. Coming off of this week, I got a win this week, James, on you.
You did,
but barely.
I thought I was in big trouble when Kyle Busch had to go to the back.
Me too.
I'll just put that down.
I didn't think. Well, then when he was in that crash and was having trouble, it's like yes, and I still only got 8 points on you.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, I was in trouble there for a hot second. So
yeah, this thing's over. I mean, it doesn't, because the slate is wiped clean. I can pick whoever I want, but. So can you, and it's just so easy to counter for you. You're so far ahead. I'm just racing for last.
Try to get some wins before the season's over.
Well, I'm still gonna swing, and I'm gonna take a guy looking for redemption, and I'm gonna take Denny Hamlin as my pick this weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Hamlin has in the last 3 races has the most points earned at this track.
Right.
One of 3 drivers who's won here, which is interesting because all 3 drivers are technically from the same stable. Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, and Bubba Wallace.
There you go.
Have won all 3 of the next gen races at Kansas.
There you go. I like that.
Who you got?
Well, it's tough because I'm trying to play the long game a little bit.
Yeah, I said screw the long game. I don't have time to play the long game.
Yeah. Well, I'll counter. I'll counter your Hamlin, and I'll take the guy who's led the most laps here in recent history. I'll take Kyle Larson.
There you go. That he was my second choice.
And I'm kicking myself maybe for not taking Chris Buescher, but we'll see.
Yeah, Chris Buescher and Bubba. I mean,
and Bubba and
Bubba's
Reddick.
a good pick here. Yeah, both of those are.
Yep.
So, how about fantasy, James?
Oh boy, did I have a fun fantasy day until Denny Hamlin had issues, but everything was hunky dory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally got back on the winner's side. So I take the opening race of the playoffs. So I guess that's the only thing we can really compete for now is second place or the playoff standing. So I guess I'm off to a good start. Let me just grab the results here. So I take first place. Green Eggs and Hamlin second, and Ranger, the 3-time champ, is third. Eric, you had a good day, 5th place.
Yeah, not bad.
Keeping track of our points leader, Barron Speedway, 9th this week. He finally fell off the second page of the top of the third page, though. I think he's 129 in the world.
Wow.
Right now.
So still incredible.
Yep. And then overall standings, just a second here, is Barron Speedway 54-62. I am up to second. I went from 4th to 2nd to 51-36. 3-time champ, Ranger Brunion, 51-19. Again, 2nd through 5th is less than a 100-point difference. So, pretty much on a blanket. Eric, you're the first guy outside of the 5,000 club in 6th.
Yeah, thanks.
49-22. So you'll be in the 5,000 club this week.
There you go.
All right.
How about shoutouts? Any shoutouts this week, James?
Yeah, the NASCAR account on Twitter or Instagram or wherever you get your socials, X, whatever. The video of Kevin Harvick reading a letter from Joey Logano. And as he's reading it, Joey Logano, you can just hear the laugh.
Oh, yeah.
In the background.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it just made me smile. Because basically Joey said he would have kicked Kevin's butt back in the day when they got in their Pocono scrap.
Yeah, which is
and,
false,
Harvick said,
by the way.
Yeah, and Harvick said no, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, very false.
Yeah, so that just made. I mean, I don't know. Every once in a while, Joey, it's just his laugh, man.
Yeah.
You can just hear him laughing off camera, and he's 100 yards away. It's great.
Yeah, everybody on this podcast knows my enjoyment of Joey Logano, so
yeah, but that is just a great video. I really enjoyed that whole situation.
I won't gush anymore.
Yeah.
My shout out, I had one, but I don't remember what the heck it was, so I'm gonna go with this. Chase Berta races for the Jeg CRA series. Got himself another win. He's the points leader in that series right now. Got himself another win at Winchester this weekend. Battling the line side by side. Coming to the finish. Looked incredible. I was hoping to go down there, but didn't make it down. I'm going to try and make it in October for the big Winchester 400 weekend with the ASA late models and CRA and all that. So we'll see if I pull that off. But good on Chase to get that win. Continue the points lead. He's going to be racing at Birch Run Speedway this weekend. Saturday night, the CRA Jeg Series as well as the Reveal the Hammer super late models will be at Birch Run. I think they're running legend carts as well. So they do a pretty good job at Birch Run of when they run these special series, not running a bunch of support classes with them. So you can get out of there pretty early usually. There's a lot of sitting around, unfortunately, because they do autographs and crap on the front stretch and stuff. But the races get done and you're out of there by 10:30 at night. So definitely worth checking out Birch Run Speedway. My hope is to be there Saturday night to watch those guys. And the super late models put on a great show at Owasso a couple weeks ago, and the CRA series I absolutely love. It's been a great series all along. They've increased car counts all season. They've had 24 to 30 cars every race the last few, so worth checking those guys out as well. So Birch Run Speedway, check them out online. They post their prices on their website in advance, and you can buy tickets in advance too, so you don't have to wait in line at the track. So
good one.
How about Black Flags, James? Any Black Flags this week?
Oh yeah, I got one.
All right.
A bunch of people got stranded at the Burning Man Festival.
Jeez, you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I need to do it. Which the Burning Man Festival used to be, like this kind of cool place for hipster doofuses back in the day. But now it just belongs to rich white women.
Just for the record, I would never see you caught dead at Burning Man.
No, never.
It is so not a James place.
No, it's not. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But from my understanding, Burning Man has turned into a place where white women gather, rich white women. And one of those rich ladies...
It's a good thing we have like 75% male listeners.
Yeah. Well, I'm not taking a shot at... Well, I don't know. Anyway, one of those rich ladies was Danica Patrick. And one of the great tweets I saw was former Indy Japan 300 winner stuck at Burning Man concert. Just the thought of Danica not being able to get out of that thing is just hilarious. So Danica Patrick, sorry, I had to take a shot when I could. So good.
That's funny. I don't really have a black flag this week, so I will give it to whoever forgot to pay the electric bill in turns 3 and 4 at Darlington Speedway.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You know, James, I guess it's tough because I've been to Darlington. I've watched the race at night, and the place is not super bright to begin with. But do we really think those drivers couldn't race in those conditions?
Larson said he could.
I mean, Larson runs... Well, did Larson say he could? Because the way I read it was he said that he races at tracks every week.
That's what Keselowski said.
Yeah.
Because Keselowski said, of course Larson says he can run out there. He runs on dirt tracks with no lights.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's a playoff race. There's a lot on the line. So if it only takes 7 minutes to fix it, it's good for them to red flag it.
Well, to be fair, it took them longer than 7 minutes to fix it because
that's true. We ran a lot of caution laps.
They ran and they knew there was a problem early on. So they were scrambling. But I think red flagging the race was definitely the right call. You gotta get that situation.
You gotta at least try to fix it, and if you can't fix it, then you suck it up and you deal with what you got. But if you can get it fixed, you might as well get it fixed. So I don't give them too much crap for that. Big props to the fans in the infield though that tried to turn their flashlights on their phones to shine on the track to help the lighting situation. So good to see them helping out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it was kind of funny because the press box at Darlington's in turn 3. So of course the press box was seeing all those people with their phones on the wall.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's good stuff. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
We missed anything?
Nope. I think that's it, man.
Where can they find you on social media if they want to hit you up during the week, James?
At James Cush on multiple platforms. I'm not going to say the Twitter X either or, so whatever you want to call it, that's where I'm at.
There you go. You can find me at eyoungdbm on Threads. Currently at tsuperspeedway on X. I'm trying to figure out that situation because I'm trying to combine Twitter accounts. I'm afraid because I don't trust Elon. So in theory, I should be able to just change the name of one account and rename the other account to that name.
Oh.
And it should work, so I can just switch the name and keep the account. But the way Elon's got stuff screwed up, I don't know if it's going to actually work. So I'm worried. So I don't know. Right now, still at T Super Speedway. Facebook, you can find us on facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on there, old episodes, show notes, links to past coverage, et cetera, et cetera. The podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Anchor. Wherever you found us today, we hope you subscribe and continue to listen for new episodes each week. And if you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, you can leave us an audio message and we might just play it on the show. All 3 series in action this weekend at Kansas Speedway. We'll be back next week to break it all down. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.